there's like 17 different ways you could do this problem. We brought in this, and now that we've done that, I would say that made this problem a little bit more complicated, but it worked, didn't it? Okay? So I'm just trying to emphasize the point that when I say try stuff, and I say, is this the right thing to do? I don't know. I sincerely mean that, right? Try something, do something that we've done for the last week, and then go with it and see what happens. But let's take a different approach, same problem. What again are we supposed to look for? Squared terms, fractions, plus or minus signs. Well, we have a fraction, okay? But when you have a fraction, according to the toolbox, it's not this. Can't use that tool. Okay? A binomial and a fraction is a binomial like that. And we said this tool is very rare. Or you have to have that inverted triangle, that upside down triangle where there's a binomial on the top, and that's not it either. So we have a fraction, but what about squared terms? We just did this method. Okay, we just did that one, so let's skip past that for a second. So the squared term we addressed with the other problem. The fraction's not going to get us anywhere, but what about a plus or a minus? Because we're supposed to look for plus and minus signs. And then after we identify that there's a plus or a minus sign, we're supposed to look on either side of the plus or the minus sign. And we're supposed to look for common terms. Do we have one in this problem? Is there something here that we also see over here? I hope it's obvious, and it's not just x, it's secant x. So we can take the secant x and factor it away from both of these parts. So now the first step is factoring. So we take out the secant x. And remember, factoring is division. So when we factor something out, we're dividing by it. So we're dividing this by secant x. Secant x divided by secant x is 1. When we factor out a secant x from here, we're left with this. The right side, I'm not going to do anything. One tool at a time, one step at a time. Now what? And you don't have to speak up, but I'm going to give you time to process. Forget about where we've been and look at where we're at. And at this point, after an entire week, I would hope, if you've been keeping up with the Joneses, you realize this is staring you right in the face. Right? It wasn't there before, but now it's right there. It's begging for you to get rid of it. And we already did this earlier today, so I'm just going to lean on that. 1 minus cosine squared is sine squared. Now look at where we're at. How close are we to showing that the left side's the same as the right side? So close, yeah? If only we had a cosine in this side over here. Oh, my kingdom for a cosine. That's a reference to what? A cosine, my kingdom for a cosine. It's Romeo and Juliet. No? Okay. Never mind. Tried to get cross-curricular there, didn't work. If I had a cosine over here, I'd be a lot happier because this has a cosine. Can we get a cosine over here? You betcha. That's 1 over cosine. 1 over cosine times sine squared. I'm sorry if I went all Shakespeare on you. right? And what's going to happen here? When we multiply those together, we're going to get that sine squared, because that's over 1, sine squared on the top, cosine on the bottom, sine squared on the top, cosine on the bottom. I didn't have to do anything to the right side, just the left side. Check mark. Mic drop. Hopefully you're bored, because if you're bored, that means this is easy.